Good morning, everyone. I think now we can start the session. So, I would like to welcome you all to the insightful webinar session on applications of AI in healthcare by Dr. Ratnakar. Before moving to the session, I would like to give a brief introduction about our beloved speaker, Dr. Ratnakar. Dr. Ratnakar is the current president of Innominds. Innominds is the AI first platform led digital transformation and product engineering service company. He is a seasoned professional with about 3 decades of experience in strategic leadership in healthcare and life sciences. He is a co-founder of Sign Biosciences Private Limited, a startup to innovate novel diagnostic and therapeutics for bacterial infections and containment of antimicrobial resistance. He was the member of vertical leadership as a global practice head for life science in Tech Mahindra. He led a creation of multi-million dollar award-winning digital health solutions using cutting-edge technology platforms, including AI. At Dr. Reddy's laboratories, he played a role in strategy development and product portfolio expansion for the global generics business. Dr. Ratnakar is a key member of National Biotech Innovation Frameworks, including BIRAC, DBT, and Bionest at University of Hyderabad, guiding startup and shaping India's biotechnology ecosystem. His deep expertise spans strategic planning, innovation acceleration, and high impact collaboration between science and industry. He is also serving on board of governors for JNTU Hyderabad. Welcome, sir, and over to you the session. Now you can share your screen.
Thank you, Saranya. So, very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for a warm introduction. And extremely happy to interact with all of you. I could see good number of people joining the call, and I'm sure the next 1 hour we will make it as interactive as possible. I'm sure you are able to hear me properly. Is
Yes,
my
we can hear you, sir.
audio
Yes,
clear?
yes.
Okay. Also, just confirm once I project my screen whether the screen is perfect, and then we will start our session. Okay.
Okay,
Is this
sir.
okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
your screen is also visible, sir.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm seeing some voice coming in the background. If you may actually mute the rest of the participants and unmute when they have any questions. Is that okay? Yeah. Let me
Yes, sir.
move on. So what I will do today is for the next 45 minutes or so, I will take you through some experiences, some thought process, and a few learnings in terms of where AI has been adopted and what are the challenges AI is going to address, in the last few years. I also have two videos which will actually talk to you about how AI is applied in the real world scenario, so that you'll appreciate how AI is getting implemented in the healthcare and the life sciences arena. So, two specific use cases I brought in as a particular videos, so that you'll understand where AI has been actually implemented. Before going over there, so let me give you a little bit of background in terms of what is the industry currently about, and what are the challenges before the industry, and what we can actually learn from these challenges from the particular data set what we are actually looking at. Today, when you look at healthcare industry, what is important and very significant for all of us to understand is this industry generates almost 30% of the world's data volume, and you all know, data is considered to be, the gold mine for any industry, and that too in the healthcare. We'll be happy to note that 30% of the data volume, world's data volume is contributed from the healthcare industry. And more important to note is 36% of that of this particular growth is seen. And also important for us to note that only a fraction of this particular data is being used for the clinical purpose. The healthcare data, as we all know, is getting generated through various sources, whether it is from the health economics data or from the genomics data or the patient outcome data. Multiple data sources are actually be contributing to this vast amount of data volumes. But ironically, only a fraction of it is used for the clinical purpose. That's the biggest challenge for all of us. In that, if you actually turn towards the clinicians, the fact is that 60% of the clinicians are reporting a burnout driven by the documentation and admin overload. So now imagine that the healthcare is actually having vast amount of data, but it is actually only a fraction of it is used. Those clinicians who actually matter most for the clinical trials or for usage of this data for a meaningful purpose, they are actually burnt out because of the routine work, which is either through the documentation or the admin work. So that is one challenge before us. When you turn towards the pharmaceutical industry, roughly about $2.6 billion is being spent, as we all know, for the drug discovery. And of course, it has the huge amount of time and effort which is, kind of spent on the drug discovery per se. So, raising R&D costs, clinical trial failures, unmet medical needs, all that is giving up a challenge for us in terms of a need for faster, smarter, and more precise innovation. And that's precisely the challenge which AI could actually take it and solve many number of problems which we will see in our subsequent slides. Right? Let me move towards how AI is adopted in the healthcare. So we are fortunate to see that there is a huge amount of acceptance of AI in the healthcare, and the market projections are showing up roughly about $20 billion by 2030, which is humongous by any standards. So that means that there is a great amount of acceptance, the great amount of growth which is seen in the adoption of global industry as far as AI is concerned. And needless to mention, there are huge number of startups in the life sciences space which are coming up year on year, and there is an exponential growth seen. With all that, what is important for us is we all understand that the industry of healthcare and life sciences is highly regulated. So we are actually also fortunate enough that the regulatory agencies are also coming towards positively in terms of accepting some of these disruptions. For example, FDA's SAMD pathway is one good example which shows that FDA started appreciating and accepting the AI-led initiatives in a major way. So there are a number of real world AI models coming up, whether it is Chat GPT. Of course, that now became a kind of a norm for all of us every day of our life. AlphaFold, Analytic, all of them are actually entering into the clinical space. That's where we are seeing that greater amount of acceptance of these real world AI models are coming into fray, and then clinical trials are getting much more streamlined, aligned, and getting augmented by these newer models, right? So let's also look at how these disruptions are happening, predominantly what we fondly call that as a molecule to market. When you look at discovery, and of course this is needless to mention that when you typically look at the conventional way of drug discovery program, you know that there are different steps and the amount of time and effort which we just spoke a couple of minutes back. Now today, if you look at how it is actually getting disrupted with target identification up to the commercialization. So let's look at some of those newer tools which are coming to our rescue as far as the drug discovery is concerned. I'm using the word rescue because that's the longest time period which is consumed with a very little what do you call success rate. Hence, adoption of some of these interventions is making us much more risk averse, and also making it much faster as far as the process is concerned. So for put in folding, you have seen the likes of AlphaFold getting much more stronger into the discovery labs. And of course, the likes of AtomWise is penetrating into the virtual screening space. So to that extent, I think there is a great amount of disruption happening in the discovery programs. Even in the preclinical, whether it is predictive admit toxicology, most of these spaces, you can see that the Gen AI or AI has got inroads and making the life of the bench scientist much more streamlined and much more comfortable. Clinical trials is yet another space which we just discussed a while ago, of how AI is coming to the rescue of the clinical site managers and also the clinical program at large. Right from the recruitment, predicting the dropouts, and simulating the trials, you name it, the entire process of clinical trial management has got a strong acceptance of AI tools, and machine learning algorithms are making a much more inroads into the programs, and the scientists and the clinical researchers are making a good kind of use of these algorithms in order to make the recruitments much more what you call aligned to the clinical trial programs. And they could actually see the possible dropouts during the programs. They're also able to visualize in terms of during the programs. These are all typical, as you all know. I think you've been actually in this space, working in. You know that how difficult and how strong, how important is getting a kind of a grip in terms of forecasting in the clinical trial programs. Second and most important space is manufacturing and supply chain. I think that's another area where a huge amount of capital expenditure is being pumped in terms of the pharmaceutical industry, and majority of losses and revenue margins are getting shrunk because of unable to really predict the demand, and unable to kind of making sure it meets the market expectations as far as the products are concerned. So to that extent, AI is making the things smoother in terms of better forecasting, right from the demand to the supply, and more importantly, route optimization and QC and QA. And Of course, all that will be great, but what happens when it goes into the market? And I think that's yet another important challenge the marketers have in order to understand the behavior of the customers. It is predominantly the physicians and the consumers who happens to be the patients. So to that extent, a total hands-on in terms of diagnostics and DTX are all some of those areas where AI has got into very, very strong. So let me turn towards drug discovery. To sum it up, it became a game changer as far as the drug discovery programs is concerned. As we just talked about, either it is target identification or validation, it has actually made life of the scientists much more easier. And What is very, very difficult and tedious task is literature mining, or even literature search, even before going into the mining, literature search. So that's where you have application of AI or Gen AI in terms of doing a smarter literature search and mining, and molecular designing using various molecular dynamics models. and also doing predictive toxicology and trial optimization. So I think these are some of those things which has made the bench scientist's life much more easier and important for us to recognize and appreciate. Needless to mention, I think the amount of work startups are actually working on in this space is quite laudable, because big pharma is totally relying on these startups for making their programs much more streamlined, aligned, and also making the making a better success of their NCEs. Towards that, there is a great handshake happening between the big pharma and startups. I've just provided a couple of names on the screen for you, which should allow you to understand in terms of how these startups are reshaping the life sciences arena in a much bigger way, because these small startups in the Bay Area are creating waves, because the big pharma are imbibing, or kind of paying a huge upfront in terms of signing up deals. Are literally reshaping the life sciences industry in a big way, because the big pharma has started accepting these startups into their discovery programs, and most of the startups have been actually either been acquired or been actually kind of partnered with huge royalties for them to help and propel their discovery programs, bring in number of NCs into the market. And we have seen great amount of examples, like whether it is Atomwise or whether it is Accenture or Nimble. Yeah, it's for startups. They are really outpacing the traditional players in the time to discovery. So that's what is the startup, reshaping the discovery. And now, when you turn towards yet another important space where both the physicians as well as patients are getting greater attention, typically because everything is revolving around the patient-centric care. We have seen the up usage of DTX as an adjunct therapies in most of the chronic care areas or the lifestyle diseases, whether it is diabetes or whether it is anxiety, depression, or any of these chronic areas, with very personalized nudges, adherence tracking, and predictive alerts. There is also good traction which we are seeing in predominantly from the regulators in this acceptance of these or approvals of these DTX apps. And we are also seeing that integrating that into the POC diagnostics, which is the point of care diagnostics or the EHR platforms. I think when you touch, I'll also kind of, as I said, I would actually kind of demonstrate to you one or two videos which will actually give you a comfort of how these companion apps or the patient-centric apps are making the diagnosis much more aligned with these AI algorithms which are built in. Okay, so Sarada, you may have to again confirm to me whether you're able to see the screen properly, and whether the video is played properly.
Yeah, now we can see perfectly, sir. It's visible.
Sorry, I don't know why all this is coming up. So, uh, as you all seen that this is one of the very important application what we had developed for one of our customers, and this has been widely used because we find that dementia patients are unable to kind of uh, present their pain to the physicians, and thereby the diagnosis is getting much more difficult for the patients, sorry, for the physicians. So this particular mobile application, which is developed for one of the largest device manufacturing companies world over, which is provided by the physicians to the caregivers of these dementia patients, and it is allowing them to express, in fact, the app is able to kind of pinpoint the pain areas and able to give a score for these patients, for the physicians to understand the severity of the pain. And the protocol has been defined using the various what do you call the clinical tools which are available, and the physicians especially found it very useful with this AI generated app, so that the dementia patients are getting the right kind of treatment at the right time. Right. So at a little later time, I will also kind of present to you one more case study, which will also talk to you about how real-time diagnosis is, happening using these AI applications. Right. And let me now, talk to you a little more about some of those models which are world over, very, which is available world over for the pharmaceutical industry at large. So we'll turn towards now the generative AI, where it is helping accelerating hypotheses into the outcomes. So we discussed a little while ago in terms of how generative AI models are predominantly helping the scientists in terms of literature summarization or clinical documentation. And there are a lot of in-house models or the foundation models which are developed with, whether it is BioGPT or MedPalm or Galactica. So there are multiple such models which are in place for the discovery scientists. There is also a lot of acceptance of interfaces, whether it is for clinicians or researchers or for patients. So that way, the intelligent bots are getting wider acceptance and making again the life of the scientists, whether it is clinicians or research scientists, much more easier. There is also a greater need for the content generation, which is predominantly in the regulated area, and that's where you are able to see the RAG models getting a lot of acceptance. Where the RAG means retrieval augmented generation models, which we are getting a stronger acceptance, right? So, with that, let me also talk to you about how AI is powerful, but it is not just a plug and play. Okay, the reason being, as we discussed earlier, there is a lot of data silos, there is a lot of regulatory ambiguity and clinical trust, which is required for the researchers, and explainability, reproducibility, validation are something which they are actually looking at it in a bigger way. There is an IP ownership and ethical considerations which are required, and there is a need for human in the loop design, which is widely been looked at. So with all that, when you look at mm, mm, uh, building the AI ready healthcare enterprise, there is a greater shift which is seen from shift from experimentation to infrastructure. embedding AI into the products, workflows, and decision making. There is a cloud native compliant platforms which is predominantly helping the speed, scale up, and also for the compliance. And what is important to see is there is a strategic partnerships and co-innovation models which are in place. So that's where we are seeing AI-ready healthcare enterprises getting itself stronger. So AI is again not another tool. It is actually been regarded and considered as a new lens on biology, care, and operations. I'm sure you'll accept that, because that's where we are seeing the great change. Early adopters are going to set the bar for the next decade of innovation. I'm sure, for those organizations, big, small, medium, large, whatever you actually define, early adopters of AI or generative AI into their programs are going to set the bar for the next decade. We are actually seeing from a DTX to molecule design, the AI native era of healthcare is here. Mm, okay, and there are multiple use cases what we are seeing. I just put up three use cases before you, how AI is becoming a knowledge assistant with the conversational Gen AI tools built using the large language models like GPT-4 or RAG, which we discussed a little while ago, trained or fine tuned on internal organizational data. I think what is important and what is also great to know about it is these models are so customized where one can actually kind of fine tune it based on the internal data which is available. It is actually enabling semantic searches across study protocols, lab reports, electronic lab notebooks, so on and so forth. So we have a couple of examples like GSK has the inner eye, Novartis has a nerve center, Roche has a Navify. So these are a couple of examples where the big pharma is adopting these knowledge assistants as their routine way of life. Similarly, when you look at documentation and regulatory document generation is a critical element in terms of the pharmaceutical industry. That's where Gen AI trained models are getting faster acceptance because of compliant document creation capabilities it is bringing in. It is able to help automate the entire protocols, CSRs, PSURs, PBRERs, etc. More importantly, it's also kind of ensuring consistency and, of course, speed up submissions. So you are able to see the likes of Acuvia and Genpacts, adopting these Gen AI assistants or Gen AI writers. So, a literature survey, which is a very humongous, tedious, and long time taking exercise, is getting smarter because of semantic search and LLM powered tools, which are built in for the scientific discovery, which the scientists are now able to do it in a fraction of the second. It goes just beyond the keyword searches. It understands the context and intent, delivering very structured results. I'm sure each one of you are using it regularly, and I can actually proudly say that I've been using it in a much wider way, and I'm actually getting a huge amount of comfort. And of course, I'm also adopting some of these into my clients. Pharmacovigilance, this is one area where at least the last maybe about 5 to 6 years, I've been actually widely using AI in making the entire pharmacovigilance adverse event management very structured and faster using some of these modules, and I can with all comfort I can say that I found it very successful and useful. Not only me, the customers whom I served has been it has been pretty helpful. right? So there are AI powered systems for detecting, as I said, potential adverse events or safety signals, which can be observed or detected by analyzing the EHRs, social media, or the literature searches, or even from the call transcripts. These models combines the NLP, which is machine learning and signal detection algorithms, predominantly for the scientific data analysis. So, as I said, companies have been extensively using it. FDA's Sentinel, Roche's PV tools, Bayer and Novartis social listening. So every company you name it are extensively using these PV agents. Uh, Turning towards AI and molecular imaging, there are specialized imaging probes for non-invasive visualization of molecular process in a real-time basis, thanks to these models. It is going beyond the anatomical imaging to reveal biological activity and at the molecular and cellular level. These models are able to support biomarker discovery and disease progression using various multimodal trainings. So what I will do is, before I turn towards the Q&A, let me quickly also present to you one more use case which can present to you. Sorry, by the sorry, I think it got disconnected.
No, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so can we now turn towards any questions?
Audience can unmute and ask the questions.
Yeah, yeah, feel free.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning. Can you
Uh,
please
so
introduce yourselves? Can you please know your name?
I'm Sadia. I'm doing my bachelor's. I'm in my final year.
Okay.
I find the field of AI and healthcare very interesting. So as an aspiring scientist, who's also really interested in AI ML models in healthcare, what would you like to advise us so that we have a clear roadmap so that we can possibly get into the field?
Very, very good question. Sorry, I couldn't get your name. Can you please repeat your name?
My name's Sadia.
Sadia. Okay. Sadia, very, very good question you have. And let me answer to you, in a little broader way. Uh, and may I know, are you a discoveries, are you working in the discovery area as an intern, or where exactly are you working with space, so that I can customize my answer to you?
Yes, sir. So right now I'm working in stem cell research,
Stem cell
that
research.
lab, that lab.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, AI. You have seen me presenting couple of slides and couple of videos about how AI is kind of getting inroads into the discovery labs. So today, I would urge every scientist or a researcher like you to try and make the best use of AI applications or AI models. Like when you're looking at your specific area of stem cells, you should identify the areas where you can actually fast track certain processes. For example, we have talked about literature search, and I'm sure as a researcher you would spend a lot of time in terms of looking at the various clinical research papers for you to design your study protocols, for you to design your research hypothesis, and so on and so forth, including even patents. So to that extent, there are uh, wonderful AI models which are built in order to make your progress and process very fast. Suppose, for example, if you are trying to look at literature search or literature mining for a specific area of your interest in the stem cells, instead of scanning through various PubMed publications or various other clinicaltrial.gov sites, you have one command and it'll actually present to you in no time number of publications suiting exactly what you're looking for. Okay. So does it not help you a lot as a researcher, instead of actually looking at and scanning through these side by side, matching the keywords and then try to do it? Doesn't you feel that this is actually making your life simple?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. I think it would be
So
really helpful. Yeah.
correct, correct. So you may have to look at some of these areas, and I would urge you to become self-sufficient. Today, you don't need a data scientist to help you, right? For each of those researchers like you, you yourselves can become a data scientist, right? Do a little bit of work on Python, and start defining things for yourselves. Okay, but of course there are a lot of LLMs right now. There, your Chat GPT is becoming now a kind of a dictionary for everyone. Why I use the dictionaries, at my age, without a dictionary, we were unable to actually go through a lot of things, because for everything we used to kind of refer to that. Or for you it is not becoming meaning, the youngsters like you, it's becoming now a Chat GPT becoming a dictionary. So I would urge you to look at some of these models and start applying, and see how your work is getting faster. So enroll yourselves. There are multiple programs which are actually designed now, okay, by various organizations. I would request you to enroll that, get yourselves trained, and be self-sufficient. That's what I would urge you to do.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was so helpful.
Yeah, and maybe you should search for some of these programs. Okay, there are multiple programs by various organizations. They are doing it. Mm, Enroll into that and be self-sufficient.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any,
Good morning,
any
sir.
good morning.
This is Jyotirmay, sir, working as a research associate in Bharat Advanced Therapeutics. So
Oh,
my
okay.
question is, can you please recommend any tools which are useful for the beginners for an AI medical research?
Okay. Very good question, Jyotirmay. And Bharat Advanced Therapeutics is doing path-breaking work in oncology. And for you to get yourselves trained on this would be very good. I would request you to enroll for some programs. I just mentioned to your friend a little while ago. Uh, you know, hands-on programs would be very helpful. Okay, so sometimes what happens is unless you actually have your hands dirty on some of these models, you'll not be able to really get to have the comfort. So there is a program which is organized by uh, Faba and Call, uh, which is called Protac. So I would request you to see if you can enroll yourselves into that. And get yourselves familiarized on the protein modeling, AI applications and all. So it is actually kind of customized for researchers and students. So please, or maybe you can actually take the help of Sravanya to you know get those details. Certainly, you can actually try to get those details and pass it to Jyotirmai if it is okay to you.
Yeah, sure, sir. I'll do that. Yeah.
And if you know Divya from Faba, you can actually reach out to her and she can actually provide you those details.
I know her. We are in contact.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Jyotirmai.
you, sir. Thank you
All the
so
very
much.
best to you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
So, Mohanish, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Only so we are also a CDFD incubated startup working in the area of cosmetics. So I have two questions. So we don't have a background into AI, but we do want to use AI to discover new bioactives for say cosmetic purpose or for other applications. It's kind of similar to what you mentioned. So where to start with? And do you see that, yes, AI will have a larger implication into screening various bioactives for such applications?
Absolutely, Mohanish. So that's what I also spoke to you about how these models are widely used for the drug screening, right? So again, even for you, I would urge you to get yourselves trained. Again, let me repeat for the benefit of everyone. There are lot of learning modules which are available, but always prefer programs which will give you hands-on training. Okay, so that you can actually work on certain problem statements and make yourselves comfortable. Like, say for example, if you have an AI model with you, for example, if you are actually trying to identify a candidate for if I heard you right, you're talking about cosmetics, right? Mm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if you are looking at dermatological or cosmetology products for a particular disease areas, okay, for example, if you are looking at treatment for acne, okay, maybe you'll have multiple kind of uh, you know, permutation combinations which you can actually get through with some of these models which you can titrate and then start looking at the ideal combinations with whatever you're looking at. So yeah, as I said that I've been extensively using these models at least for the past 10 years, and we could definitely come out with some very good results. even when COVID came, we could actually, even with these in silico models using AI, we could actually kind of come out with some drug repurposed candidates for oncology or for antimicrobials. So, yeah, answer to your question, yes. Again, the same response. Look for some models, look for some programs which will give you hands-on exposure.
So that is exactly my question was. So there, like we need to do that computation and say Akine as the example that you gave. So can you suggest some models that are already there and we can leverage on those and then we build up our expertise and then obviously it is a tool to play with.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So as I said earlier, if you would have read my statement, it is not a plug and play. Don't expect AI to be a plug and play tool for you, right? It is not where you just take that model. Okay, I have this model now. Let me open it and give you some command. No, I think you have to train those models for the problem areas you are working on. So for which you have to get customized in terms of how to build those models. Okay, what should be the learning models which have to come in, and because ultimately it is what you teach the system all about. AI is not something where it learns by itself. No, you have to train that. Okay, for which your intelligence would actually be of great help. So for which you have to really get through some kind of a formal orientation. I'm not saying you becoming a data scientist. Okay, so you are a research scientist. You can actually leave the job to the data scientist for him to help you. But get yourselves a little more familiarized on these principles. And again, as I said, models are umpteen number. Okay, so for example, I can actually straight away give you an answer. Okay, go and use an atomize, and you can build your models. But you know is it something where it is off the shelf product? In typical IT words, it's called as COTS. So I don't think you can actually have a COTS AI products, right? You need to actually kind of build to your own requirements, and base models you can actually build and then train the models and then use it. For which, as I said again to both your earlier friends, I would request you to get yourselves trained. Okay, there is a drug discovery program again. AI also is part of that. You should get yourselves trained, or at least get oriented on these, and then start applying it, and you'll see how you can actually make the things easier for you. Okay, given bigger answer or longer answer, but in a nutshell, I think you should get yourselves a formal orientation.
thank you, sir. That was a great, great helpful.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take the last question before we wind up. Uh, Saranya, I hope that's okay for you.
Yes, sir, sure. Any other questions from audience side?
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hi, Pragna. Yeah, good
Yes, sir.
morning.
Myself, Pragna. I have completed my master's in microbiology from JNTUH, sir.
Okay.
So my question is, how does AI reduce diagnostic errors, sir?
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So the video which I showed you, which is the diagnostic detection for urinary tract infection, it doesn't actually give you it doesn't actually the answer to your question is how does it actually reduce the errors, is what you're saying, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
errors is, for example, in one of the clinical trial study which we have done, when the patients actually reach to a doctor and then the doctor gives an empirical prescription, we have seen that majority of the times, or most of the time, I don't say majority of the times, most of the times, the diagnosis empirically is not true to the 100%. Okay, because the doctors have to rely on lab tests. right? And you know that the lab tests, some of them will come to you in about days time, some of them will take about couple of days time. So in that, what is the rescue for a physician, for him to have a better empirical way of diagnosing and treating. So that's the only thing which they can do is they should rely, or they will rely on some of these tools which will make them better in terms of their diagnosis. We have seen that in some of these models where physicians have got a greater benefit by using these models rather than giving an empirical prescription.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So once again, thank you all for your time, and really pleasure to interact with all of you. So I'm sure
Sir,
there is some message back to you guys, and all the very best to you. Over to you, Saranya.
yeah, thank you so much, sir, for the insightful and interesting talk. Now we are moving to the last session of the webinar. I invite Beniha, our research associate, to give vote of thanks.
Yes. Thank you all. On behalf of IEFR, I extend my sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Ratnakar Palakodeti. Thank you, sir, for being with us and generously sharing your valuable knowledge and time today. It has been an honor to have you as our speaker. I would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our founder, Dr. Uday Saxena, for an unwavering support and guidance. To all the attendees, thank you your active participation, enthusiasm, and engagement throughout the section. Once again, thank you all for joining this inspiring session. Thank you.
Thank you all, and all the very best to all of you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you.